This is the Birdbrain Hummingbird kit. It interfaces with a microbit, meaning you can code it with Microsoft MakeCode. It has outputs for LEDs, inputs for sensors, and outputs for motors. Looking around on the internet and on Hummingbird's website, I saw a skeleton arm controlled by a servo motor. I thought that was neat, but didn't have the full capability of displaying all of the sensors at once. So we ended up moving towards something that was a little bit more of a game, something that could show all the different sensors and something that was fun to play. So let's talk about the different sensors. The first one is the distance sensor. The distance sensor is an ultrasonic sensor. So that means that it uses sound to measure distance. It sends out a sound wave and then measures the time that it takes to get back. And that way it knows exactly how far away something is. The second sensor is a sound sensor. Don't get this confused with the ultrasonic sensor, it's very easy to. The sound sensor has a thin film that gets vibrated when sound hits it, and the contact made with that vibration creates a signal. The next sensor is a dial. The dial is pretty simple. There's a sweeper in there on a resistor, and it changes voltage doing that. And finally, we have actually a separate microbit to control tilt. So these gyro sensors are a little bit more complex and maybe outside the scope of a short video. But you can trust me when I tell you that tilting it changes the input. So let's just turn the thing on and see it work. This is gonna get kind of silly because I'm going to have to do a bunch of things at the same time. This was meant to be a 4-player game. So I'll start off with the sound sensor. The sound sensor controls this leg down here. This is, I believe, Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. And you can see that as I'm talking, this leg rotates. And when I stop talking, it rotates the other way. So I have this set up to rotate one way when there's no sound and rotate the other way when there's a lot of sound. So if I hum at it, I can keep it still. The top right is controlled by the gyro sensor on the microbit. So you can see that as I tilt this, it tilts the arm. These are using radio to communicate between the two microbits, and that way I can control this wirelessly, which I think is pretty sweet. The top left is controlled by the distance sensor. You can see that as I move my hand closer or farther away from this, the arm rotates. And finally, we have our dial, which controls this bottom sensor. So as I rotate that dial, it controls the rotation of that. Now, the part of this that gets a little bit more complex is that some of these are position motors and others are rotation motors. So if I have a motor, I need to tell it how much or where to turn to. Position motors get told where to turn to, so that's somewhere between 0 and 180 degrees, and rotation motors get told how much to turn. So should I be moving this way or this way, and how fast should I go? I should mention that I laser cut all of these different parts. So this is just cardboard and popsicle sticks on the back. And I made it a little bit thicker here to give some nice grip. Next I took another piece of cardboard, cut out this shape, and engraved the graphic on it, as well as giving it little legs on the back, and hot glued those together. Using these, you can make a lot of interesting controls and make a game out of it that I think is pretty fun. So my basic objective here that I wanted folks to try to accomplish is get the Vitruvian Man to kind of match the pose that's on the back here. So I'm gonna start off with the dial, put that leg in position. Next up is the distance sensor. So I'm just gonna position this on the table, maybe a correct distance away. Let me grab something from out of frame, give it a little wall to look at. And all right, that's close enough. Next up, we'll do the gyro sensor. And I think that looks pretty good. And now I get to embarrass myself and do the sound sensor. All right. I think that was pretty good. Kind of matched the positions about as best as I can. It's meant to be a 4-player game, so you gotta give me a little credit playing four players at once. But yeah, that's a game that I made with Birdbrain, and I think you guys should try it out. It's pretty fun. Thanks. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you want to learn more about Birdbrain, check out the link in the description below, and we'll see you next time.